What's going on? Hey, I've had a hard time. I've used about every premium wheel that Hot Wheel has on projects, and everything's kind of getting a little old after you do, a couple hundred of these things. You kind of run out of ideas with what the usual is. So I've been looking for somebody to buy wheels from. Had bad luck out of most. People send you the wrong wheels, and old guy might like me, they hit me with that's what you ordered. And after an order or two and they come back, I know darn well I'm not that senile and stupid. So that's the end of working with people who do stuff like that. Stepped on to John at RPX, and these are killer wheels. I mean, check them out. I'm going to put those on the Escalade, and these are going under the Lincoln. But one thing that has to be understood, these are 3D printed. I don't know if you can see that on the back. They are 3D printed, and they got a nice, it looks like it's done really well because the holes are very uniform. They send you a set of axles, but you got to be careful with these things. They're not steel, they're not alloy. They will break. You have to be gentle when you roll that axle in. So like I said, this is the first time I've done these. I've done others, broke others, others that aren't so, here, I can show you one right here. Anyway, you see how you can barely see the hole? See, I'm gonna have to open that up a little bit just to get an axle in it. So, but this is somebody else's wheel. And, no comparison whatsoever with. Let's see if I can get a picture of that. And see how big them holes are? Nice and uniform. Really cool. So he warned me on that and said, hey, and I'm sure he has, everybody that's new, he has to tell them that. But yeah, I know what's going on here, and we'll be careful with it. But we're going to throw it together, and you get to see two more come up here. This Lincoln, I've been trying to put it together forever. So we'll get to do this thing here, and hopefully we don't screw it up. They send you a little reminder. That there, little bitty axle. See what we got here. Yeah, that's where they go. Heck, I believe that stuff's even smaller than. See if this don't go in here. Because if it does, that is so cool. That means we can axle tube these wheels. I mean, it seems like I'm all the way in there, but who knows? And that's way too much. Oh, those look perfect. The chance, the rest of the cards right there. Yeah. We know. Okay. Oh, it's delicious, ain't it? Yeah, it looks like we can run the hub all the way up against the. We want that hub to be away from the chassis as far out as we can possibly get it, so we can get the widest stance. Okay, now the plan is to take a piece of brass rod and do like we do the rest of our brass axle tubes. Cut it, put it in, you know, make it wide enough to take up with pushing those wheels out a little bit. Then assemble this wheel with some super glue. Cut our axle tube, slide it on, and install the other wheel. Glue it into the chassis, and that way it'll still roll. I mean, you know, you don't put pressure down. It's mainly aesthetic, but they will roll. And it'd be a little bit stronger assembly. But so far, so good. I mean, I really do like these wheels. If you're a builder, I think you'll really like these wheels. They're beautiful. I mean, my gosh, that's what's going to make this this project. But let's get her apart. Might be, yeah, snap chassis. Cut her close, boys. Cut her close. What I'm talking about is this one's a snapper. That's where you cut these babies just right. You cut just enough of that rivet off. Yeah. Yep. We just got to go in on its nub. And we put the chassis back on. See, I've cut those just right. Not too much. Not too little. And you can tell by it snapping back. When it snaps back together, it's just right. Now, we're going to have to drill the chassis for the brass tubes. I like to drop this thing down on the table and then shoot straight through, but you need to be careful on this one, because this has got to be pretty straight. So you start at the bottom of the V. You got to kind of hold that together, and just a little bit at a time till it comes out the other side. Not too much. And come over the other side. Always watch your paint. Don't screw it up. Okay, that's pretty successful, that one. Let's go to the rear. This one's tricky too. It's real close to that. It nicked it a little bit on the inside. That's okay. We can be good with that. You know, a lot of you are probably saying, why in the hell would you take a chance to scratch that body by doing something crazy like that? Well, this thing ain't gonna sit in the jig too good, I don't think. So by clamping this together like that and holding it, see, we got a pretty straight hole through there, to which our tube's going to go. Now, the plus to this is, if we go to assemble this again, you know, every time you take it apart and put it back together and take it apart and put it back together, anytime you have to clamp it, anytime you're putting pressure on new paint, you're going to goof it up. No question about it. So the less pressure, the less holding, the less pushing, the less rubbing, the whole deal on your paint job, the better. The absolute better. So when we do it this way, you know, we don't have it apart, doing it on a jig, knocking it off like this one back here 500 times when you're trying to do 100 things on the bench. It's nothing like that, and it turns out pretty good. You don't have to, because once you do one on the jig, and you pull it out and you put the chassis together, it seems like it never fits. You always have to do a little adjusting here or there. And this way, it seems like it'll sometimes just fall right in. You don't have that extra adjusting to do. And it works out a whole lot better. So we hopefully it'll work out good for us too. You know, but that's the next step, is looking where we're at as far as how wide the axle needs to be. So we're going to have our axle in here like this, and we're going to have this axle inside of this axle. Again, these are really, really delicate. You need to be careful with them. They won't take a whole lot. There it goes, right inside. Perfect. Okay. Try to put this body back on, and then determine where our front wheel needs to be. Man, that looks good. Just, that's money right there. I had somebody tell me I was stupid last night. And I told them they were crazy. I said, you get doing 100 of these and find out what's out there and what looks good and what doesn't. You're pretty much thankful to have somebody that sells these things. Okay, I'm going to try to lay this real easy. Don't goof up the paint. Oh, he wants to take off on me. Jerk. Okay, get out. Knock that one. That one. Okay, move this over like that. And I'd say it takes that much. Get a little line on it. Pull it out. Also pull our axle out too, and our wheel and everything. Okay. Now we need to cut this. That. That's like that, put it like that. Okay. Okay, it's been a while, and I got tubes built for the front and rear, and the tires just set in. Wheels and tires, boy, they look good too. Probably had this apart and back together, apart and back together 6-7 times now. Getting the spacing right, still not done. We are in the front, but in the rear, it still needs a snipping or two. I want to make sure I don't cut off too much. I think it needs a little bit more. That's the thing about this when you're trying to get it perfect. You got to go little bits at a time, because you go too much and, you know, once you gone too far, that's it. You can't go back. Just want to get a little bit more into the wheel, so the glue will hold it in there. This is just a mock-up too, people. It's still got to come apart again once it's right. Once the final adjustments were made, the wheels look great. Being the main focal point of this build, and it was a simple build, merely clear coat, a little detail paint, and some nice wheels.